Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a company you might not know by name, KFin Technologies, but its performance is absolutely turning heads. We're going to deconstruct its financials and really see if this incredible growth story can hold up under a microscope.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll figure out what KFin actually does. Then we'll dive into that amazing growth, run a quick financial health check, see who's really calling the shots, and then try to figure out what's next for them. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can even touch the numbers, we have to understand the business. What exactly is KFin Technologies? To put it simply, think of KFin as the digital plumbing for a huge chunk of the financial world. If you invest in a mutual fund here in India or even in places like Malaysia or Hong Kong, there's a really good chance KFin's tech is humming away in the background, making sure your money goes where it's supposed to and your data is safe. They're that critical techie backbone for the big players.
All right, now for the fun part. This is actually why we wanted to make this explainer in the first place, the company's growth. The numbers behind it are, well, they're pretty astounding.
So just how explosive are we talking? Let's boil it all down to one single number that really tells the entire story. Yep, you're seeing that right. It's not a typo. For the last 5 years, KFin has seen its profits grow by a compounded 134% every single year. That's the kind of number that signals just massive expansion. And you can see that momentum right here in the data. Just look at the profit before tax. It jumps from 204 crores in 2022 to 327 in 2024. But then look at the most recent 12-month period. 461. The growth is actually speeding up. You see the same exact story in the earnings per share. It's just a beautiful, consistent upward climb. But here's the thing, right? That kind of rocket ship growth always makes you ask the question, is it built on a solid foundation? So to find out, we need to do a little health check. Look at the good and, well, the not so good. And this is where the plot thickens. On the one hand, the company looks super healthy. It's got almost no debt, a really solid 25% return on equity, and it even pays a nice dividend. But there are some warning signs too. The stock price looks kind of pricey, and maybe more importantly, the company's founders have been selling off their shares. Let's dig into that first con a bit more. Is the market's excitement getting way ahead of the company's actual value? In other words, is the stock just plain expensive? The number is 13.1. That's how much higher the stock is trading compared to its book value, which is basically what the company would be worth if you sold off all its assets. A number this high means investors are betting on some truly enormous future growth. It's a massive vote of confidence for sure, but it's also a bit of a high-wire act. So with this picture of amazing growth, but also a sky-high valuation, who are the folks betting big on KFin's future? Let's take a look at who actually owns this company. So as of mid-2024, the ownership is pretty much split evenly into 4 different buckets. The founders, or promoters, hold about a third. But then you've got big foreign funds, domestic institutions, and the general public all holding almost equal shares. It's a really interesting, diverse mix of owners. Now, let's zoom in on that promoter slice. In March of 2023, they held nearly half of the entire company. Fast forward just over a year, and that stake is down to a third. That's a huge and really fast sell-off, and it tells you the original backers are taking some serious money off the table. So with all that as context, what is the company doing right now to justify that high price tag and to keep that growth engine firing on all cylinders? Well, their recent announcements give us some really big clues. This is a company that is not sitting still. They're launching new products, like their Empower Wealth platform. They're making smart acquisitions, like buying up Ascent. And they're striking up massive partnerships, including one with BlackRock, one of the biggest asset managers on the planet. They're also talking to other major investors like Diamond Asia. This is not a company resting on its past success. So here's what it all comes down to. You've got this incredible past growth that's fueling huge expectations for the future, all happening while the ownership is shifting away from the founders and into the hands of big institutions. And that leaves us with one really critical question. It's not about what KFin has already done. It's about who, with this new group of owners at the table, who is going to write the next chapter of this story.